We're now continuing our series of Ryan's Success series. Today, we're going to be talking about how to build a success mindset. If you haven't already, make sure you watch the other parts of the playlist and videos that come before this. What we're going to be focusing on now is second order thinking. What is second order thinking? It's thinking about the consequences of your actions. I know this sounds super confusing, so let me just describe it with a specific example. Imagine you're trying to wake up and you have an alarm and you're supposed to go to the gym and you're like, you know what, let me just snooze that alarm. Of course we know we shouldn't snooze the alarm. Of course we know we should wake up, we should go be a productive person, go do amazing things, become successful. But you decide to snooze it. The reason you typically decide to snooze it is because you immediately weigh two options. You're like, okay, do I wake up and it like kind of sucks and I go try to, become an amazing person and like do a lot of things? Or do I just try to get 10 more minutes of comfy, amazing sleep? And in that moment, you're like, okay, they seem about equal because I'm in this bed and I'm already comfy and I'll just pick this. And a lot of times it has to do with discipline, also with habit of you getting up at the same time and getting used to that. Because if you're not used to getting up at the same time, it's going to cause problems. But second order thinking is going beyond that. So it's like, okay, I miss the gym, let's say, for 10 minutes. Or I wake up late, I snooze this button. What's going to happen after I snooze it? Well, it's going to go off again in 10 minutes. And then am I going to click snooze again? Probably, because I already clicked snooze once. And then what happens if, let's say, I miss the gym? Okay, if I miss the gym, then that means that I'm probably going to wake up an hour later. And then now I might be late for certain things. I still need to get ready for the day. And that means I'm going to have to rush through a bunch of things. I might forget some important stuff before I go to work or before I go to school. And so now you start to see this may not be the best way to describe it, but it's like these different realities play out. And you start to understand that when you make a decision, you separate two realities where you could have went yes, could have went no. Do I work an extra hour today? Yes, no. If you go along the yes path, it's like, okay, what did I learn from that 1 hour? Did I get it done? Right? That now freed me up for 1 hour later. Now I can, go explore other opportunities at 1 hour. So there's a cascading domino effect with every decision you make. And it's very hard to imagine and think about until you experience it yourself. And I think the best way to do this is really just if you procrastinate, you see this, right? Because when you keep saying no, eventually you keep hitting these dominoes down the line, and eventually you'll reach the last decision of I have to say yes because I have no more time, because you kept saying no to this assignment again and again and again. But second order thinking is so important because so many people today in this world only focus on the face value of the two decisions, and they think that, okay, if I only compare the two face values and I pick whatever is better, right, then I'll be okay. But the problem is success requires you to pick the harder option, which is very difficult for people to just inherently say, you know what, that's I actually don't like donuts and I really love my spinach. That's not common for people to think, right? But you can strengthen that kind of decision-making process of choosing the harder path with second order thinking, because you can think one step beyond. You can think one step beyond of what's going to happen if I choose that donut. If I choose that donut, I'm going to feel guilty. I'm going to put on some weight. I'm going to probably feel unhealthy, and I'm probably not going to want to go to the gym. But if I choose that spinach, it's going to suck. I'm not going to like it, but I'm going to feel better about myself, and all these different things. So it's not just which is more tasty. It becomes a deeper question. And that's going back to, the alarm and snoozing analogy. It doesn't become, do I snooze it or do I not? It becomes, do I snooze it and then kind of ruin my morning completely, as I know that I will snooze it again and then eventually become late, and then leading to, me being late to work and maybe my boss not being happy, and then me missing a meeting that's important and having to catch up on work later. Versus, do I just wake up early on time? Then I get to go to the gym, feel productive, and get a workout in, which is good for my health. And then I get to have enough time to prepare. And then I'm on work at time. Go to work on time, go to school on time, all that stuff. And then I just feel really blessed and ready for an amazing day. The second order thing is so important because it's I think most people just don't think about those two decisions, and in the split second, they're going to choose the really easy one because it looks easier, it looks safer, it looks just more appealing. But when you truly go behind the scenes of what's going to happen after the domino effect, you can sort of see in the future, kind of. But it's in the future of the results of your decisions down the line. And to be honest, I think this is the best thing in my kind of case, because there's been a lot of times, I'm going to be very honest with you, nobody wants to wake up early in the morning and go to the gym, right? Nobody does. But I think back to those times when I finished my workout and I felt better about myself and I was ready to go start work early and I was ready to go to school early and just start studying earlier. And I think about all those positive benefits that come as a result of choosing to go to the gym. And that's a perfect example of second order thinking and how it can motivate you and push you towards actually taking the harder decision, because you know down the line in the near future it will benefit you. This is also really closely tied to delayed gratification, in the idea that by delaying gratification, you are actually thinking about the consequences of your actions far in advance. And of course, a lot of us know there's consequences of our actions, but I think I would really want you to just very carefully consider that. And every time you make a decision, really think about the downstream effects this will have before you just make the decision. Because sometimes people will think about it for really important stuff, like, if I buy a house here or if I switch my job. But for the other important things in their life, they're not thinking about it. They're like, should I work this extra amount of time? And I think working is a really important one, because if you decide not to work, it's not only the fact that you didn't work, it's actually the fact that your brain is a constantly growing kind of, organ, in the sense that when you choosing not to work and you choosing comfort, your brain is going to sort of get affected by that, in that it's going to shrink, in a sense of, it's going to get used to and form the habit of, okay, I'm going to run away, in a sense, from hard things and not do these hard things, versus if each time you're like, no, I got to go for another hour, and you go for that another hour. And then again, later on in the week, when it's you have the chance, do I go for another hour of work or not? You say, I'm going to go for another hour. Now your brain is hardwired to okay, anytime there's something difficult, we're likely just going to do it. So let's just get used to doing that. And then you become at this level where hard work doesn't feel that hard anymore, because you're just so used to doing it. It's been just hammered into your brain just again and again and again. It's beyond a habit. It's just a part of who you are. And this is the thing that's going to just snowball you into success, because you're just going to be able to do so much work without having a mental breakdown, without thinking it's a huge, terrible thing. So that's really second order thinking in a nutshell. If you guys have any questions, put them in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe for more videos like this, and I'll see you in the next part of the series.